Shalom Aleichem Rabotai, is Rabbi Kovacs. We are continuing Mishnah Yomi in Terumot in the 9th parak in the 2nd Mishnah. Now recall the first Mishnah we had learned that planting Terumah, someone has wheat kernels of Terumah and he plants it in the ground. He's not supposed to do that, but really the wheat is gone and the stalk is a new plant, so it's treated as Terumah only on the rabbinical level. It's Terumah d'Rabbanan. So Mishnah Bayat we learn Chayevet Beleket V'Shecha Upeya. Because it's merely d'Rabbanan, it's really Chulin D'Oraisa, it's Chayev in all the gifts to the poor. And the Mishnah says, Aniyah Yisrael and Kohanim Meloktin, and the poor of Yisraelim, that means Mamish, not Kohanim, and really Kohanim can both collect this. So you might have thought, since it's Terumah d'Rabbanan, only poor Kohanim could have it. They say no. Even the poor Yisraelim, they could go and gather this Terumah d'Rabbanan. V'ani Yisrael mochrin et shelahem leKohanim b'dmei Terumah. But they don't eat it; they sell it to Kohanim for the value of Terumah. Now recall, we have free market economics here, so Terumah there's much less demand. Only the Kohanim can eat it, so it's less expensive. So Ani Yisrael, they can gather this rabbinical Terumah. They can gather it from the Peya and the Shecha and the Leket. But they must sell it to Kohanim, but they sell it for the lower price. Damim shelahem, but they can keep the money. Mishnah continues, Rabbi Tarfon Omer, lo yilaktu ele ani Kohanim. He says, no, really, only Kohanim should harvest from this field of planted Terumah, which is rabbinical Terumah. Shema yishkachu, they might forget, v'netu d'chpiyim, and they'll come to, they'll eat a kernel, they'll eat something while they're harvesting the field. Because one of the rights that a worker has is to eat from it, and so to a poor person gathering from the field, they might forget that it's rabbinical Terumah, and Israel might eat this. Amar Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva says, if you're so stringent that this is treated like mamish Terumah, even though it's merely rabbinical Terumah, lo yilaktu el tahirim, you should say that people who are impure shouldn't pick it, that only Kohanim who are tahirim should be able to pick from this field. Barnur says halacha is like Rabbi Akiva. Good. Mishnah Gimel, chayevet b'maisrot, and you have to take meiser from this rabbinical Terumah field, this planted Terumah seeds. Meiser sheni and also meiser sheni. Ani Yisrael v'ni Kohanim notlin. Now this tithe, the meiser, can go to the poor of Yisraelim and Kohanim. V'ni Yisraelim mochim l'shelahem l'kohanim b'mei Terumah. So again, they can't eat it, it's rabbinical Terumah, but they can sell it to the Kohanim, v'damim shelahem, and again, they can keep the money. Now, the Mishnah gives a really interesting advice here. A chovet mishubach, hitting it with a stick is wonderful. This is something you never say to your boys when they're playing outside in the backyard, but okay, by this rabbinical Terumah, it is good. Now, Bartner explains, you're threshing the Terumah, you're threshing the wheat out of the husk using a stick, and that's not the normal method. He explains why. Kedei shelo yitztorech lachsom et the behema shadash bas. You don't have to put a muzzle on the ox or the animal that's doing the threshing. That's a pasuk. Asar lachsom shor b'disha. You can't muzzle an animal when it's working on the food, and the example given is the threshing in the Torah. And Bartner continues, because it's usher to let the animal eat from this rabbinical Terumah, im eino parato shel kohen, if it's not a kohanic animal. So a Kohen's animal could do the threshing, but most animals do not belong to Kohanim, so stam, you have a problem, because the animal is going to come to eat from the crop while it's threshing. So it's much better, mishubach achovet. It's much better to use a stick and thresh it yourself manually. It's sometimes people still like to do things by hand or through vinyl or analog, and that's the makor right here in the Mishnah for that. Sometimes it's better to do it yourself by hand and not to try to automate the process and bring more issues into it. The Mishnah continues, hadash ketzad yaseh, and someone who's trying to do dash with a non-kohanic animal, how does he have to do this? Tole kafifot b'tzavrei behema. He has to hang baskets from the neck of the animal, and put that same species in there. So if he's threshing wheat, you have to put some delicious wheat in those baskets so the animal doesn't eat from the rabbinical Terumah. Then you're not muzzling the animal because he has access to all this food. You don't have to put a muzzle on him because the Maisi's got baskets full of food all around his neck, and he's not going to be eating the truma, the rabbinical truma. He won't have that problem. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos.